Imagine for a moment that I walked up to you right now and placed $10 million in cash directly into your hands. What is the very first thought that crosses your mind? Do you think about the cars you would buy, the vacations you would take, or the debt you would pay off? It feels like a blessing, doesn't it? It feels like the solution to every single problem you have ever faced in your life. But here is a statistic that will absolutely terrify you. Studies show that nearly 70% of lottery winners end up broke within just a few years of winning the jackpot. Think about that for a second. They are given more money than most people earn in 10 lifetimes. Yet they end up right back where they started, or often in a much worse position. Why does this happen? It happens because money is not a cure. Money is a magnifier. If you are foolish with $100, you'll be 1,000 times more foolish with $1 million. If you are fearful with a little, you will be paralyzed with a lot. The problem isn't the resources you lack. It is the mindset you possess. Today, I'm going to tell you a story. It is an ancient story, set in a time before stock markets and cryptocurrencies. But the lesson it holds is the absolute key to understanding why some people build empires, while others build prisons for themselves. This is the story of three brothers and the test that defined their destiny. In the bustling, sun-drenched city of Varanasi, centuries ago, there lived a merchant named Harish. Harish was not just wealthy. He was a man of immense wisdom who had built his fortune from nothing but dust and determination. He had seen empires rise and fall, and he knew that wealth without wisdom was like a sword in the hands of a child, dangerous and selfish. Harish had 3 young apprentices who were like sons to him: Rohan, Kiran, and Ayan. They were eager, they were hungry for success, and they all believed they were ready to conquer the world. But Harish knew that believing you are ready and actually being ready are two very different things. One crisp morning, as the sun was just beginning to paint the sky in hues of orange and purple, Harish called the 3 young men to his courtyard. He placed 3 heavy leather bags on a wooden table. The sound of metal clinking against metal echoed through the silence. "Inside these bags," Harish said, his voice low and steady, "is enough gold to change your lives. I am going on a long journey, a journey that will keep me away for exactly 1 year. I am leaving this gold with you. It is not a gift, and it is not a loan. It is a test." He looked into the eyes of each young man. "How you use this resource will tell me everything I need to know about your character. When you return, you will show me what you have done." With that, the merchant turned and walked away, leaving the 3 brothers staring at a fortune that was suddenly theirs to command. Rohan, the eldest of the 3, was the first to grab his bag. He felt the weight of the gold, and a rush of adrenaline flooded his system. For Rohan, this gold represented one thing: freedom. But his definition of freedom was flawed. To him, freedom meant the ability to do whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted, without consequence. "Life is short," Rohan exclaimed, a wide grin spreading across his face. "Why should we wait? Why should we suffer in silence when we have the means to live like kings right now? The merchant wants us to live, doesn't he?" This is the trap of the hedonist. Rohan represents the modern consumer who lives for the weekend. He is the person who gets a paycheck and immediately thinks about how to spend it. He is the one who buys the newest iPhone, not because he needs it, but because he craves the dopamine hit of something new. Rohan took his gold and went straight to the market. He didn't look for investments. He looked for applause. He bought the finest silk robes that shimmered in the sunlight. He bought a white stallion that was faster than the wind. He rented a massive villa and invited people he barely knew to lavish parties that lasted until dawn. He told himself he was networking. He told himself he was building a reputation. But in reality, he was buying validation. He was trying to fill a hole in his soul with material things. The Greek philosopher Epicurus once said, "Do not spoil what you have by desiring what you have not." Rohan was doing the opposite. He was destroying his future to satisfy a temporary craving in the present. For the first few months, Rohan was the most popular man in the city. Everyone loved him. They drank his wine, they ate his food, and they praised his generosity. He felt like a king. He looked at his brothers and laughed, thinking they were fools for not enjoying this windfall. But the thing about pleasure is that it is a bottomless pit. The more you feed it, the hungrier it becomes. The parties had to get bigger to feel the same excitement. The clothes had to get more expensive. Slowly, but surely, the heavy bag of gold began to feel lighter. Now, let's look at the second brother, Kiran. Kiran was the complete opposite of Rohan. When he held the bag of gold, he didn't feel excitement. He felt terror. He looked at the world and saw only danger. He saw thieves. He saw bad luck. And he saw the possibility of losing everything. I cannot lose this, Kiran whispered to himself, clutching the bag to his chest. If I lose this, the merchant will be furious. I must protect it at all costs. The world is a dangerous place, and the only way to survive is to hide. Kiran represents the hoarder. This is the scarcity mindset. In the modern world, this is the person who keeps all their money in a savings account that earns 0.01% interest. While inflation eats away at its value by 7% every year, they think they are being safe, but in reality, they are slowly bleeding to death financially. Kiran went to his small hut, dug a deep hole in the floor, and buried the gold. He covered it with a heavy rug and placed his bed over it. He didn't spend a single coin. In fact, he started living even more poorly than before. He ate less food, he wore rags, all to ensure that he didn't have to touch the gold. He stopped working because he was too busy worrying about his hidden treasure. He would wake up in the middle of the night, heart pounding, convinced that someone knew his secret. He became a prisoner of his own wealth. He possessed the gold, but in truth, the gold possessed him. There is a famous quote by Helen Keller that says, "Security is mostly a superstition. It does not exist in nature. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing." Kiran chose security, but he bought himself a cage. He let his fear dictate his actions, and fear is a terrible financial advisor. Then there was the third brother, Aeon. Aeon held the bag of gold with a calm expression. He didn't see a party like Rohan, and he didn't see a threat like Kiran. He saw a tool. He saw a seed. Ayan understood a fundamental truth. Money is not the goal. Money is the fuel for growth. Ayan sat down under a banyan tree and closed his eyes. He didn't act immediately. He thought. He prayed. He asked himself, how can this gold serve not just me, but the world around me? How can I make this grow in a way that creates value? This is the mindset of the investor, the entrepreneur. Ayan realized that wealth is not a static object. It is a flowing river. If you dam it up like Kiran, it becomes stagnant. If you drink it all dry like Rohan, it disappears. You must channel it to create life. Ayan took a small portion of the gold chest, a handful, and bought books. He bought knowledge. He studied the soil of the region. He learned about crop rotation. He learned about what the people in the neighboring villages needed but couldn't get. He realized that the farmers were struggling because they didn't have good tools. So, Ayan used a portion of the gold to hire a blacksmith. He didn't just give the money away. He invested it in production. He created better plows, better scythes. Then, he went to the farmers and made a deal. I will lend you these tools, he said. In exchange, you give me a small percentage of your harvest. He didn't exploit them. He empowered them. The farmers could now work 3 times faster. Their yield increased. They were happy to pay Ayan his share because he had solved a painful problem for them. Ayan didn't stop there. As the profits started coming in slowly at first, then faster, he reinvested everything. He didn't buy a big house. He didn't buy fine clothes. He lived simply, just as he always had. He understood the concept of delayed gratification. He saw a plot of land that was full of weeds and rocks. Everyone else saw a wasteland. Ayan saw potential. He bought the land for a cheap price. He used his profits to hire workers to clear the rocks. He planted fruit trees that would take years to grow. Rohan mocked him. Why are you planting trees, Ayan? You won't see fruit for years. Look at me. I am drinking the finest wine today, Kiran warned him. You are spending the gold. What if the crops fail? What if it doesn't rain? You are taking too much risk. Ayan just smiled and kept working. No, that T. Compound effect was the 8th wonder of the world. He knew that small, smart actions, repeated over time, lead to exponential results. He wasn't working for today. He was working for a future that only he could see. Months turned into seasons. The year passed. The contrast between the three brothers became starker with every setting sun. Rohan's life had become a nightmare. The gold ran out 3 months before the merchant was due to return. When the money stopped, the music stopped. The friends who drank his wine disappeared the moment the bottle was empty. He had to sell his white stallion. Then he had to sell his silk robes. He was eventually kicked out of his rented villa. He ended up sleeping on the streets. Worse off than he was before he got the gold, it was bitter. He blamed the merchant for not giving him enough. He blamed the economy. He blamed his friends. He took zero responsibility. Kieran was physically fine, but mentally exhausted. He had spent a year living in paranoia. He had lost weight because he was too cheap to buy food. He had no friends because he was too suspicious of everyone. His gold was safe, yes, but his soul was withered. He had bought safety at the price of his life. Ayan, on the other hand, was thriving. His fruit trees were just starting to blossom. The farmers were bringing him carts full of grain as his share. He had employed dozens of people in the village. He wasn't just a man with gold anymore. He was a pillar of the community. He had built a system that generated wealth even when he slept. Finally, the day of reckoning arrived. The heavy wooden gates of the city creaked open, and Harish the merchant rode in on his camel. He looked dusty from his travels, but his eyes were sharp as ever. He summoned the three brothers to the same courtyard. Rohan stepped forward first. He looked disheveled, his eyes red from lack of sleep and too much cheap liquor. He fell to his knees. "Master," he cried, "the gold you gave me, it slipped through my fingers like water. The prices in the market were too high. The people leached off me. I have nothing left. Please, give me another chance. I need more time." Harish looked at him with a mixture of pity and disappointment. "You chased pleasure," Harish said softly. "You thought wealth was for consumption. You built your house on the sand of instant gratification. The gold wasn't cursed, Rohan. Your lack of discipline was the curse. You have lost your chance." Next, Kieran stepped forward. He looked proud. He walked to the center of the room, pulled up the dirty rug he had dragged with him, and produced the bag. It was exactly as it was the day he received it. Dusty, but full. "Master," Kieran beamed. "I was not foolish like Rohan. I didn't lose a single coin. Look, it is all here. I protected it with my life. I buried it. I starved myself to keep it safe. I am a good steward, am I not?" Finally, Ayan stepped forward. He did not have a bag of gold in his hands. Rohan smirked, thinking Ayan had also lost it. Kieran looked confused. "Master," Ayan said, bowing respectfully, "I do not have the bag you gave me." The room went silent. Instead, Ayan continued, gesturing to the gate. "I have the deed to the land I reclaimed. I have a warehouse full of grain. I have a network of farmers who now have better tools. And here ... he placed a new, larger bag on the table. ... is the original amount you gave me, plus interest." Ayan looked at the merchant. "I used the gold to create value for others. The wealth I have now is simply a reflection of the help I provided." Harish smiled. It was a smile of genuine pride. "You have understood," he said. "You realize that true wealth is not about spending, and it is not about hoarding. It is about circulation. It is about investment. It is about using resources to make the world better." Harish put his hand on Ayan's shoulder. "Rohan is a slave to his desires. Kieran is a slave to his fear. But you, Yan ... you are the master of your destiny. From this day forth, you are my partner. Half of my empire is yours." This story is not just a fable. It is a mirror. Every single day, you are given resources. You are given time 24 hours, the same as Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. You are given energy. You are given a certain amount of money, whether it's a little or a lot. The question is, which brother are you? Are you Rohan? Are you taking your time and your money and setting it on fire for a few moments of pleasure on the weekend? Are you scrolling through social media, watching other people live, while your own potential withers away? Are you buying things to impress people you don't even like? Or are you willing to be Ion? Are you willing to delay gratification? Are you willing to live like no one else now, so you can live like no one else later? Are you willing to take what you have no matter how small and plant it? Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in history, started with a paper route. He didn't buy candy with his money. He bought a pinball machine and put it in a barber shop. He split the profits with the barber. Then he bought another. He understood the lesson of Ion. The reality of life is that nature does not care about your intentions. It cares about your actions. If you plant corn, you get corn. If you plant nothing, you get weeds. You don't have to plant weeds. They grow automatically if you do nothing. Poverty, stagnation, and regret are the weeds of life. They grow automatically when you fail to plant seeds of growth. Look at your life right now. Look at your bank account. Look at your skill set. If you are not happy with what you see, stop blaming the economy. Stop blaming your boss. Stop blaming the government. The problem is the strategy you are using. You have been given the gold. It is the time you have left on this earth. It is the brain inside your head. It is the internet connection you are using to listen to this right now. You have more access to knowledge than the emperors of Rome ever did. What are you doing with it? Are you burying it? Are you wasting it? Or are you growing it? The merchant life itself will eventually return. The clock will run out. And when you are lying on your deathbed, looking back at the year you were given, what will you have to show for it? Will you have memories of cheap thrills? Will you have a life of safe, fearful mediocrity? Or will you have a legacy? The choice is not in the future. The choice is right now. Put down the distractions. Pick up the shovel. Start planting, because the harvest is only for those who are willing to work for it. If you are still listening, it means you have a spark in you. You want to be a Yanni. You want to build? So make a promise to yourself today. Not to me, but to the person looking back at you in the mirror. Promise that you will stop wasting and stop hoarding. Promise that you will start investing in your mind, in your skills, and in your future. Be the master of your gold, not its slave. The empire is waiting for you, but you have to be the one to build it.